कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीर वनचारी। यमुना तीर वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। युग धर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। So welcome everyone. Very good to see you all after a very long time. Actually, I was away for a while on a vacation. I was not in Bangalore for around 1 month or so. Really good to be back in this center now. And a very happy Ekadashi to all of you. So today, I have been asked to discuss verse number 12 to 14 of the first canto, second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. I guess till 11th verse we had discussed in the last session. So we'll do that today. Okay, from 12 to 14. So, sorry?
In the font size.
Font size, okay. Just a second. Better now? Okay. So, but before that, we'll do some Mangala Charan and then we can proceed with the session. Okay. So as usual, this session is dedicated to our founder Acharya of ISKCON, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So whatever I am going to say, I'll merely repeat what I have heard in the lectures of Srila Prabhupada. I'll merely repeat what I have heard in the by the Guru Parampara and my Siksha Gurus, and I'll merely repeat what I have read in the books of Srila Prabhupada. So I'll perform some Mangalacharan now. These are pranam mantras. Those who know can chant along with me, and those who don't know, kindly try to listen very carefully, because listening is also very, very purifying. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gururo Shri Yuta Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagan Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenbandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kant Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prem Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namah Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhate giri yat kripatam ham vande Shri Gurum Deenatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you so much. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. Okay. So coming back to the shlokas, let's read. Tat Shraddhana Munayo Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pashyantyatmani Chatmanam Bhaktya Shruta Grihitaya. Can you please repeat after me? Tat Shraddhana Munayo Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pashyantyatmani Chatmanam Bhaktya Shruta Grihitaya. Tat Shraddhana Munayo Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pashyantyatmani Chatmanam Bhaktya Shruta Grihitaya. Tat Shraddhana Munayo Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pashyantyatmani Chatmanam Bhaktya Shruta Grihitaya. Anyone would like to recite? Please go ahead, Prabhu. Tat Shraddhana Munayo Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pashyantyatmani Chatmanam Bhaktya Shruta Grihitaya. Okay. So we'll read the translation and then the purport, and then I can go ahead with the explanation. I think this is the one verse which will require some little explanation. Others are relatively smaller, although explanations are there in that as well. Okay? The seriously inquisitive student or a sage, well equipped with knowledge and detachment, realizes the absolute truth by rendering devotional service in terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Shruti. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srilas Prabhupada. Absolute truth is realized in full by process of devotional service to the Lord, Vasudeva, or personality of Godhead, who is full-fledged absolute truth. Brahman is his transcendental bodily effulgence and Paramatma his partial representation. As such, Brahman or Paramatma realizations of the absolute truth is but a partial realization. There are 4 different types of human beings: the karmis, the jnanis, the yogis, and the devotees. The karmis are materialistic, whereas the other 3 are transcendental. The first class transcendentalists are devotees who have realized the Supreme Person. The second class transcendentalists are those who have partially realized the plenary portion of the Absolute Person. And the third class transcendentalists are those who have barely realized the spiritual focus of the Absolute Person. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita and the other Vedic literatures, the Supreme Person is realized by devotional service, which is backed by full knowledge and detachment from material association. We have already discussed the point that devotional service is followed by knowledge and detachment from the material association. As Brahman and Paramatma realization are imperfect realizations of the absolute truth, so the means of realizing Brahman and Paramatma, that is the paths of Jnana and Yoga, are also imperfect means of realizing the absolute truth. Devotional service, which is based on the foreground of full knowledge combined with detachment from material association, and which is fixed by the oral reception of the Vedanta Shruti, is the only perfect way by which the seriously inquisitive student can realize the absolute truth. Devotional service is not therefore meant for less intelligent class of transcendentalists. There are 3 classes of devotees, namely the first class, second class, and the third class. The third class devotees, or the neophytes who have no knowledge and are not detached from material association, but are simply attracted by preliminary process of worshipping the deity in the temple, are called material devotees. Material devotees are more attached to material benefit than transcendental profit. Therefore, one has to make definite progress from position of material devotional service to second class devotional position. In the second class position, the devotee can see 4 principles in the devotional line, namely the personality of Godhead, his devotees, the ignorant, and the envious. One has to raise himself at least to the stage of second class devotee and thus become eligible to know the absolute truth. The third class devotee therefore has to receive the instructions of devotional service from authoritative sources of Bhagavata. The number 1 Bhagavata is established personality of devotee, and the other Bhagavatam is the message of Godhead. The first class devotee therefore has to go to the personality of devotee. The third class devotee therefore has to go to the personality of devotee in order to learn the instructions of devotional service. Such a personality of devotee is not a professional man who earns his livelihood by business of Bhagavatam. Such a devotee must be a representative of Shukadeva Goswami like Suta Goswami and must preach the cult of devotional service for the all-round benefit of the people. A neophyte devotee has very little taste for hearing from the authorities. Such a neophyte devotee makes a show of hearing from professional man to satisfy his senses. This sort of hearing and chanting has spoiled the whole thing, and one should be very careful about faulty process. The holy messages of Godhead is as inculcated in the Bhagavad Gita or in the Srimad Bhagavatam are undoubtedly transcendental subjects, but even though they are so, such transcendental matters are not to be received from the professional man, who spoils them as a serpent spoils the milk by the touch of his tongue. A sincere devotee must therefore be prepared to hear the Vedic literatures like Upanishads, Vedanta, and other literatures left by the previous authorities or Goswamis for the benefit of his progress. Without hearing such literatures, one cannot make actual progress, and without hearing and following the instructions, the show of devotional service becomes worthless, and therefore a sort of disturbance in the path of devotional service. Unless, therefore, devotional service is established on the principles of Shruti, Smriti, Purana, and Pancharatra authorities, the make show devotional service should at once be rejected. An unauthorized devotee should never be recognized as a pure devotee. By assimilation of such messages from the Vedic literatures, one can see all pervading, localized aspect of personality of Godhead within his own self constantly. And this state is called Samadhi. So very nice purport and a very nice analogy drawn by Srila Prabhupada, like how unauthorized devotees can spoil the devotional service just like a milk is spoiled by the serpent. Okay, so we'll see one by one. I have given some time on this particular verse. The subsequent verses we may not be dedicating so much of time, because we are already over time. Actually, we are short over time. So let's see how can we discuss about it. Okay, so the most important thing, which was mentioned in the purport and in the translation as well that we saw, was seriously inquisitive. Okay, so one has to be seriously inquisitive in order to perform the devotional services. Okay, now first we'll see what is the meaning of inquisitiveness, what is serious inquisitiveness. Okay, and then we'll proceed from there. So first of all, we all by birth are very, very curious, right? I mean, when a child is born, like parents are very excited when they are taking care of that kid, and especially like when the kid is maybe 1 or 2 months old, parents deliberately try to make them speak. Okay, maybe one letter word, 2 letter words, and slowly they are very, very, affectionate about the kid, and once the kid utters the first word, they are so excited. Yes, they are so excited. And slowly what happens, that out of the curiosity, the kid actually starts learning more and more words, and then they start asking questions. Okay, and it is that time when the trouble for parents start. Okay, so they just come to mom, why this is happening like this, mama, why it is not like that, why it is only has to be this way, and all sorts of questions are being asked by the kid. Okay, so sometimes when the mother is very busy, maybe in the kitchen or somewhere else, so what happens, she says कि जाके पापा से पूछो. Okay, दिन भर बैठे रहते हैं, कुछ काम तो है नहीं उनको परेशान करो. How many Prabhujis have overheard your wife saying this to you? You can please raise your hands, it's okay. Okay, so the child finally goes to the father. Father is actually watching some news or cricket match on the TV, and then he starts bugging him, right? कि पापा ऐसा क्यों होता है? Why this has to be like this? Why this has to be like that? Okay, and father says, okay, जाके मम्मा से पूछो. Now the kids these days are also very smart. कि आप टेबल टेनिस मत खेलो, आप दोनों मेरे साथ, मम्मा ने ही मुझे यहाँ भेजा है, right? So you have to tell me what is this. So now what happens after that? After some time we try to answer the questions ourselves. When we see that, okay, now this guy is actually trespassing my own personal space, my own personal time that I have for myself, what do? Barely when the kid is maybe say 2 years old, we start sending them to play school. Okay, just to get rid of that. Okay, ठीक है, let this guy go there for at least 2 to 3 hours. मैं तो सुकून से रहूँगा कम से कम, right? And this is it has become a norm today in the society. I mean, even if people are ready to invest time after the kid, but just because of the peer pressure, we are just sending them to the play schools. And just see, 2 years or 2.5 years, is it an age to send the kids to the school or any place like that? It's not. Like if we read our Vedic scriptures, people were not sent to Gurukul unless they achieved 5 years of age, right? But just it's the age of Kali Yuga, the effects of Kali Yuga are such that we have to follow that, right? And then when the kid is pestering, just see like how it happens. That why is this happening? Why is that happening? Why 2 + 2 is only 4? Why it is not something else like that? Father gets disturbed after some time and then says, okay, ठीक है, मम्मा से नहीं पूछना है, मत पूछो, go to your school teacher and then ask them, right? Now this guy goes to school and starts pestering the teacher also. So much of curiosity is there. Ultimately, teacher also gets fed up, and then they say, कि ठीक है, this will come in the examination, you have to read it, you have to learn it, just write in the examination. Right? So this is what our education system is doing to us, right? They are just killing the curiosity which is there within us, okay? And what to say, like, when we grow up even further, our inquisitiveness is further corrupted. Once we start seeing the, Netflix and other OTT platforms, things are there, TV is there, so much of distraction is there, right? So what happens? This inquisitiveness is there. That is there, inherent quality of each and every jivatma, each and every human being, or rather each and every animals also, right? But just by watching these, different videos or TVs, our inquisitiveness or our curiosity is further corrupted. Okay, they, instead of asking the right questions, we start asking some mundane questions. One very popular question was, Kattappa ne Bahubali ko kyun mara? So we are inquisitive about this, right? Salman Khan kab shaadi karega, right? This is our inquisitiveness. इस बार भारतीय जनता पार्टी सरकार बनाएगी या नहीं बनाएगी? Who will win the IPL? Will India win T20 World Cup or not? This is the kind of inquisitiveness we have today, right? So we have, completely deviated from the path of actual spiritual realization, and we are just, focusing on these mundane aspects, okay? And when we don't ask right questions, and when we are living life like the way we are, today in this age of Kali Yuga, there is absolutely no difference between us and the animals. Just eating, sleeping, mating and defending, right? These are the 4 things which these animals are doing each and every day, day in and day out, and we are also doing the same thing, right? So, and when, what? These animals are doing this better than us, right? Can we eat like an elephant, 50 kgs a day? No, we can't, right? Can you sleep like a bear 6 months at a time? We can't. We are just doing all these things, yes, in a more sophisticated way. A dog sleeps and, eats out in the open. We eat in a, fine dining restaurant, or we sleep in a luxurious bedroom. That is the only difference. Otherwise, there is no difference at all. And the Bhagavad Gita also, gives us a very nice, a shloka, where, Krishna himself is confirming that this kind of mentality is a demoniac mentality, okay? So the shloka goes something like this. Idam aye maya labdhim prapsase manoratham. Idam asti idam api me bhavishyati punardhanam. The demoniac person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in future more and more. So don't you think this is, very relevant to our mentality these days? No matter how rich we are never ever satisfied with the wealth that we are having. We are always planning to increase it over and over again. So much so that people are not even let go of, 500 rupees, right? Just tell them that, okay, ठीक है, क्या फर्क पड़ता है प्रभु जी, just जाने दो इसको. तो कैसे जाने दें? लक्ष्मी का अपमान होगा. You are investing in stock market day in and day out. वहाँ पे लक्ष्मी का अपमान नहीं दिखता है, right? That is a kind of gambling. You are playing a gambling match on the Diwali night, saying that by, playing gambling on Diwali, there is a multiplication of money at our homes, right? वहाँ पे लक्ष्मी का अपमान नहीं दिखता है. But just ask them to let go of 500 rupees. नहीं, लक्ष्मी का अपमान है. कैसे हो सकता है, right? So this is demoniac, and we have actually plunged into that demoniac mentality today, because of this corruption in Kali Yuga. Okay. So now the question arises that then who is seriously inquisitive? What is serious inquisitiveness? Okay, what is that serious, curiosity? So the serious curiosity means to ask the right questions, right? Who am I? Okay, who is God? What is the purpose of my life? What is my relationship with God? Okay, these are the questions which actually, kind of shake you from within, and then they try to put you on the right path of spiritual realization. Until and unless we are not asking these questions, we are completely illusioned, and there should not be any doubt in the minds of anyone. Okay, we have to ask these questions, and it's very obvious. Just imagine that the kind of brain, the kind of intelligence which human life has been, blessed with, right? I mean, do you really think that struggling in the school days to attain good marks, and then finally getting a nice job, getting married, having kids, and then, ultimately marrying our kids off, and then ultimately dying, is this just the only goal of life? I mean, this is a very, common question which should strike each and every single one of us, right? With the kind of intelligence that we are blessed, I think this is just a very mundane activity that we are performing. Okay, so and also there is an old age disease is there, right? People get old. We don't want to get old, but we have to, right? We don't want to die, but we have to. No one wants to fall sick, but we have to do that. So why this is happening? how to get rid of this. These are the right questions. These are the seriously inquisitive, questions which are there, right? And no matter how much technological advancement we make, okay, like, we cannot get rid of this old age, birth, death, and disease, okay? During the COVID times, we have seen that COVID has exposed us like anything. On the external side, we are actually landing on moon, we are sending our spacecrafts and, hovers on Mars planet, okay? Some have even sent, we have even reached Saturn, right? The Cassini-Huygens probe. But something like COVID comes and, we just fall like flies. Kahan gaya sara advancement, right? Where is the advancement now? We are totally not prepared for that. Then what kind of, technological advancement we are talking about when we can't save the lives of our fellow human beings, right? So that rover is not going to come and save our life, okay? That spacecraft is not going to come and save our life, correct? So it's very important that we start asking the right questions, okay? That who are we, who is God, what is my relationship with God? At least these questions should be there, okay? And then to be seriously inquisitive, we must have jivasya tattva jigyasa. That what is that tattva, okay? And as Prabhupada mentioned in this purport, that the tattva or the supreme absolute truth can be realized in three forms. That is the Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan, right? Brahman is the personal effulgence of Krishna, bodily effulgence of Krishna, okay? Some people stop right there. Theek hai, I have realized Brahman, I think this is God, done, okay? Then there are some people who, by some meditation and dhyana yoga, what they do, they realize the Paramatma aspect. That means they are continuously able to see that Paramatma within their hearts. So that is the Paramatma realization. And then the devotees, they realize Krishna in the two-handed form, performing his eternal pastimes in his eternal abode, the Golok Vrindavan. Okay, so that is the Bhagwan aspect. So this particular understanding can be very nicely understood with a similar analogy, right? For example, there is a new railway station that has come up in some village, and before that villagers have no idea what a train is, okay? So what happens that they come to know that, okay, on this particular date, at this time, a train is going to arrive at the platform, the newly created platform in our village, okay? Some villagers are waiting eagerly. The train is an evening train or rather night train. So from the distance, some villagers see that, okay, the light of the train is approaching slowly. So they think that, okay, that train is a light, and they simply run away from the station and make full halla in the village that, okay, train is a light, just light, okay? Now, some people, they were more inquisitive, they stayed back, and then they saw slowly when the train started approaching, they saw that, huge outline of the engine, which was approaching the platform. So those guys ran away, and then they made a big halla in the village that, okay, this train is like a huge, something very huge which, just approaches you like anything, right? So that was the Paramatma aspect, that might be compared to the Paramatma aspect. But some very intelligent people, they decided to stay back right till the end, and they allowed the train to come up on the platform, and then they realized that, okay, it's not just the outline, right? It has several bogies connected to it. It also has the compartments, and in the compartments, actually the humans are sitting, and that whole train, how it looks like, right? So now you can understand what is the difference between the three of them, okay? So the difference is that the people who stayed back till the end, they have all the three realizations, right? They know that, okay, the light which we saw initially was the light of the train, the form that we saw initially was the form of the engine, and the actual train looks like this, okay? So similarly, the people who are realizing the Brahman, they have the partial knowledge. People who are realizing the Paramatma aspect or the localized aspect of Krishna, they also have the partial knowledge. And finally, the devotees who actually realize the Bhagwan aspect, they have the complete knowledge of the Supreme Absolute Truth. Okay, and this has been confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna also actually prefers devotees rather than yogis and jnanis. Okay, and he says, Yoginam api sarvesham madgate nantaratmana shraddhavan bhajte yomam same yukta tamomata. And of all the yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental loving service to me, he is the most intimately united with me in yoga, and he is highest of all. Right? So Krishna himself is giving this judgment. That is my opinion. Okay? And the superiority of bhakti, like we will see, we continue that, as we have seen, that person who has realized all the three stages, the bhakts or the devotees, they have realized all the three stages, the Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan. They know that Brahman is the personal effulgence. They know that Paramatma is the localized aspect. And actually Bhagwan is none other than but Lord Sri Krishna. Okay, so they are way superior, than the other two classes of men. Okay, and how can we realize this? How can we realize the Bhagwan aspect in this Kali Yuga? Simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, so yogis, what they do, that the meditation is not an easy task. Okay, like if you read the Bhagavad Gita, there are a lot of things, like in the Gyan Yoga section, in the Dhyan Yoga section, Krishna tells that the yogis, they have to meditate a lot, maybe for several hundreds of years previously. In the previous yoga they used to do, right? In Kali Yuga we don't have that kind of lifespan, but the requirement was that in the preparation, just by following the do's and don'ts, we had to spend at least 10 to 12 years, just for the preparation of the upcoming yoga process. Okay, and then after that, several hundreds of years, people used to perform that yogic meditation, and then they were able to realize the Paramatma in their hearts. Okay, so why to do that? Why not read the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam directly? And the process is given, and the process is very easy in this Kali Yuga, right? Kalera dosh nidhe rajan asti heko mahan guna kirtanad eva krishnasya mukta sangha param braje. Right? Srimad Bhagavatam tells us that although Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, okay, but it has one very mahan gun. And what is that mahan gun? Simply by chanting the holy names of Krishna, one can be going back home to back to Godhead, actually. Okay. So, and to realize the Paramatma, like it takes a lot of time, right? And bahunam janmanam ante gyan vanmam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. Right? After many lifetimes, one who is in complete knowledge, one who understands me to be the cause of all causes, ultimately surrenders unto me. Right? This is what Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita. Why to waste so many lifetimes? Okay. Prabhupada he has made things so easy for us. Right? Now that person, when he went first to the West actually to preach, who were the people who were listening to them? All the hippies, right? I mean, they were completely in ignorance. They used to break all the 4 regulative principles day in and day out. Okay, and one very nice pastime, like when Prabhupada first, started preaching there in the West, in the United States, people didn't understand what he was saying, and also Prabhupada was not very well aware of the Western culture. Okay, so very nice pastime was there that Prabhupada was one day preaching something, and at that time. I think I'm forgetting the name of that devotee. I think it is Shyam Sundar Prabhu. His grace Shyam Sundar Prabhu. Like he was his personal assistant at that time. So he immediately ran out of the room and just called the other devotees who were sitting outside. Hey, come, Swamiji is saying something very interesting. I am not able to understand anything, but it is something very nice. Right? So that is the kind of situation Prabhupada was in. Right? And from that, like he has made it so simple for us, right? When Prabhupada himself took initiation from his Guru Maharaj, at that time the rule was that a person, initiated devotee, had to chant 64 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, right? I mean, can we even think of doing that today with our busy schedules, right? Our own Amalatma Hari Prabhu is doing that every day, but then that's a separate topic of discussion. We can take that later point of time, okay? But it's very difficult. He understood that in this age, like it's not possible for people to chant 64 rounds. So he reduced it to 16 rounds, right? So he has done everything. And what else do we need to do? We just need to eat prasadam, okay? Like honor prasadam nicely. We need to dance and sing in the kirtan. And just by doing that, we will be going back home, back to Godhead. Then why to spend your life, in meditating and, performing the meditations, which is not possible in this age of Kali Yuga. So Prabhupada has already given us the grace marks. Okay, compare this, breaking the cycle of life, death, and rebirth as an examination. In that examination, Prabhupada has already given us 50 marks. Right, the pass marks is already there. Another 25 add kar lijiye once you come to the center and listen to katha like this. So 75 is just like that. For rest 25, you will have to work little hard. Okay, what will you have to do? Just eat prasadam, eat only prasadam. That is the challenge. Okay, and then just chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, sing here, dance here in the Kirtan, go back home, back to Godhead. Now isn't that very, very simple thing to do? So, Prabhupada used to say, where is the difficulty? Right? And another very interesting pastime of Prabhupada, which reminds how much devotion should we, how much percentage of devotion should we inculcate within ourselves to go back home, back to Godhead. So Prabhupada was giving lecture one day, right? And he was saying that in order to go back home, back to Krishna, you have to be 100% devoted to Krishna. 100%, there is absolutely no concession for that. Absolutely no attachment to material things, material people and anything else, right? Just Krishna. People became very serious at that time. Those guys were hippies, they had just started devotional service, so 100% was a very big number for them, right? So Prabhupada looked at them, he immediately understood that, okay, these guys are little tense, so okay, 90%. 90% you do from your side, 10% Krishna will take care, okay? People were still very serious, okay, and very, eagerly looking at Prabhupada, that do something, So he said, okay, 80%, chalo, fine. 80% you do, rest maybe I and Krishna will take care. Some people were satisfied, but still a majority of people were still very, very serious at that time. So Prabhupada said, okay, 70%, not less than that. So now just see, he has given us, so much concession that even if we are 70% serious in our bhakti, Prabhupada will take care, right? He has given us that assurance. And this pastime didn't end there actually. When Prabhupada left the building, like he was about to leave the building, one devotee, very curious, and he was just running after Prabhupada. He came and offered his obeisances and just said, Prabhupada, I have one question. Prabhupada said, yes, please go ahead. So I am a very new devotee. I have just started my bhakti. I don't think I'll be able to make even 70%. 50% bhi kar lu to bahut hai. What should I do? Prabhupada said, I have a secret key to the back door of Golok Vrindavan. You just hold tight on my dhoti, I will let you in with with me. Okay. So this is Srila Prabhupada for you, right? So just imagine, he has given us a personal assurance that those people who are chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day, following 4 regulative principles every day, I take the personal guarantee to take them back home, back to Godhead. Now isn't that something really amazing, which Prabhupada has given us? Yes? So this is what we have to do. We have to be seriously inquisitive, and Prabhupada actually has created this ISKCON with, keeping in mind that this ISKCON will be like one big family, one big house where all the devotees who are just like, our family members, they will be staying together. And we see that, his dream is coming true, day in and day out, because there has been a consistent increase in the number of devotees we have seen, and I hope, that day comes very soon where, entire world is Krishna consciousness, is Krishna conscious, what to speak about just Bangalore, right? So why does the temple, or why do we at ISKCON, we organize such huge feasts? For example, the Sunday feast is there for, in every week we do this Sunday feast. We host very nice, Janmashtami festivals. We host Rath Yatras. Why do we do that? So, can anyone try to guess?
To connect the general people so they can get attracted and maybe.
Yes. So, when they get attracted, what will happen?
They will follow, or they will started, getting attracted to Krishna, and they might come to devotion service.
Yes, they might come to devotion. That means we are trying to, preserve that curiosity, that serious inquisitiveness which has been mentioned in this particular verse, just by carrying out these festivals. Otherwise, outside world, the material world is completely going to destroy that. Okay, the education system has destroyed that. We ourselves have destroyed that. Okay, so just by coming to these Sunday feasts and the festivals that we organize, I think our curiosity will be preserved. So that's a very important thing that the temples are doing. Okay, and how to remain a serious jigyasu. Okay, how to remain, very curious about serious inquisitiveness that we were talking about, right? So, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, right? The name itself says Bhakti and Vedanta, right? So, Bhakti should be there and the philosophy should also be there. Okay, I mean, just by carrying out Bhakti, it can take you to a certain extent, but in the long run, you need to have a good hold on the philosophy, on the scriptures, on the books that Srila Prabhupada has written, so, right? Without that, it's not possible for us to, practice bhakti for a very, very long time. We need to know the philosophy. Okay? And I'll quote what, Prabhupada has said himself. And how did Prabhupada speak? So, why do I write the books? To make money? No. I want my disciples to read the books and understand the purpose and the goal of life. Okay? So this is what Prabhupada wants us to do. Just don't take Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and just keep them in a shelf very nicely at your homes. Please try to read it each and every day. Okay? That's very, very important, because our spiritual progress is basically, it's just like a train, and a train requires two tracks to run upon. Okay? The parallel tracks. So one track is bhakti and another track is philosophy. Okay, so the train has to run on these two tracks. If any one of them is missing, simply it's not possible for us to progress. Okay, and it also gives us the inspiration to chant. Okay, sometimes what happens that after doing some book distribution or maybe coming here and doing some seva, that enthusiasm is there. कि ठीक है चलो आज से करेंगे, but then it just, it is there and then slowly starts coming down and then finally gone, right? How many times do you eat in a day? At least 3 times, 2 to 3 times, right? How many times you drink water in a day? More than once, right? It's not कि बस एक बार एक glass पानी पी लिया and done for the entire day. Is it like that? No, it's not like that, right? So similarly, spirituality is also like that. We need to get that continuous dose of spirituality, okay? And that happens only when we read the scriptures and we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Okay, so it has to be on both the tracks, philosophy as well as devotion. Okay, so now we will come to the next verse. अतः पुंभिर्द्विजश्रेष्ठा वर्णाश्रम विभागशः स्वनुष्ठितस्य धर्मस्य संसिद्धिर्हरितोषणम्. Okay, so I think we should just go ahead with the translation and the purport. O best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to the caste divisions and orders of life is to please the personality of Godhead. Okay, so the perfection of life is Sansiddhir Haritoshanam. That means to please the personality of Godhead. Human society all over the world is divided into 4 castes and 4 orders of life. The 4 castes are intelligent caste, martial caste, productive caste, and the labor caste. These castes are classified in terms of one's work and qualification and not by birth. Then again, there are 4 orders of life, namely student life, householder life, retired life, and the devotional life. In the best interest of human society, there must be such divisions of life, otherwise no social institution can grow in a healthy state. And in each and every one of the above mentioned divisions of life, aim must be to please the supreme authority of Godhead, supreme personality of the Godhead. Okay? So we will come to see, we'll try to understand through the PPTs. Okay? That's a little easier. So what is the ultimate perfection? Okay, ultimate perfection is to please the supreme personality of Godhead, Sansiddhim Haritoshanam. Okay, so how it can be achieved? Now there are, as Prabhupada mentions in the purport, that there are naturally occurring 4 divisions. Okay, in our society. Okay, and that division is based on the guna and karma of the individual, not based on the birth. Okay, as the modern day caste system does. Okay, so it's a faulty, modern day caste system is a faulty process, right? Just because a person who is born in a Brahmana family is being considered Brahmana, right? Although, like, he might be into meat eating, he might be into gambling, he might be into, alcohol, he might be consuming alcohol, but still they are considered as Brahmana, right? So this is not a very correct way of segregating the people, okay? And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself says that he himself has created this segregation based on the guna and karma of the individual, not based on the birth. Okay, so he says chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasha tasya kartaram apimam vidya kartaram avyayam. According to the three modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me. And although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. Okay, and also, one very nice verse I would like to quote from Bhagavad Gita itself. Okay, and I think it's this one, 18th chapter, 41st verse. Okay, so here what Krishna is saying: Brahmana Kshatriya Visham Shudranam cha Parantapa Karmani Pravi Bhaktani Swabhava Prabhavair Gune. So, means Brahmans, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras are distinguished by the qualities born of their own natures in according to the material modes. Okay, co-chastiser of enemy. So it's not because of the birth that someone is a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra. Okay, so okay, so these things we have seen, and this segregation is natural, right? I mean, artificially we cannot segregate people, but unfortunately today's education system is, kind of what, I have learned from my Siksha Gurus is the Udar Bharan Vidya. Okay, they are just simply giving us a means to, earn some money and fill our belly. Okay, nothing else. But they have no, they lay no importance whatsoever in what is the gun of this individual, what is the karma of this individual. Okay, so every individual, you will see that, by default, according to the modes of material nature which they possess, although each and every single individual is basically a combination of the three modes of material nature. Okay, Satogun, Rajogun and Tamogun. Okay, mode of goodness, mode of passion and mode of ignorance. Now, some people might be having the mode of goodness as the predominant mode, and passion and ignorance have taken a back seat. In some people, mode of passion might be, at the forefront. The other two modes have taken the back seat, right? So based on that, the behavior of the person is different. Okay, people who are in the mode of goodness are generally the intellectual class. Okay, they are basically, the visionaries. They see the bigger picture of the things. Okay, they are not very easily, attracted by high position and good sum of money, basically. Okay, the thing which inspires them is intellect, and that is what which keeps them going. So such people can be categorized as Brahmanas. Similarly, there is a class of people, and this is evident in the society itself. I am not talking about the caste system which is there. Just as people in general, just look around you and you will find these kind of people. Okay, there is another class of people who are very much into administration. Okay, they like to manage things, they like to give orders, they need a few people whom they can just manage and give directions, and they flourish like that. Okay, that is the basic inherent quality of such individuals. So they can be classified as Kshatriyas. Okay, there are certain class of people who are very good at business. They have a very nice business acumen. They can just make money out of anything, right? So such people, or they can be doing some farming or something like that, growing some vegetables, fruits and like that. So those people can come under Shudras. And then there are some people who are very skilled with their labor, the hand labors with their hand. Okay, and then they try to help all the other three classes, basically, right? So they can be considered as the Shudras. So this natural division is occurring in the society. Okay, people think that this caste system has been created by us, or it's not. Some people actually try to give their argue against it. But whether we have a caste system in place or we don't have a caste system in place, these four divisions will be naturally occurring, and every society will be having this. Okay, so and why? What is the ultimate use of this force? Like the segregation of the society. Okay, the final goal is basically to please Krishna. If we try to follow these four, the prescribed duties for each particular, varna and each particular ashrama very seriously, then what will happen? Automatically our lives will be regulated. Okay, and once we are living a regulated lifestyle, Keeping Krishna in the center, automatically what will happen? We will perfect the human life. How? By making Krishna happy. Okay? Sansiddhir haritoshanam. So this is what we have to see, that we should, while performing our prescribed duties, at no point we should forget the ultimate goal of life. The ultimate goal of life is to please Krishna, and that can be done if we follow the Varnashram system very seriously. Okay? Because a lot of times a question is asked by us, by different people to us here at ISKCON, that Prabhuji, I am a grihastha. Will I have the same fate as a brahmachari or a sannyasi because they are investing more time, in the service of Krishna? So just understand that just by following the Varnashram dharma, there is a prescribed duty for the brahmacharis, there is a prescribed duty for a grihastha, there is a prescribed duty for a sannyasi, correct? So if we just stick to those prescribed duties and we just keep Krishna at the center, the fate of a sannyasi and the ultimate fate of a grihastha will be one and the same. That means they both will be seeing Krishna face to face in Golok Vrindavan. Okay, there is no stopping that. But we just have to be very, very serious. We have to keep Krishna in the center. Okay? And each varna can also have subdivisions. That actually I missed out that point. That, for example, say a brahmana, some brahmanas may be very good at performing Vedic sacrifices. Okay? Some brahmanas may be very good at doing the deity services. Some brahmana may be very good at teaching. Okay? So this kind of, the segregation or subdivision is there, but the ultimate aim should be to please Krishna. Whatever we are doing, the ultimate aim should be to please Krishna. Sansiddhir haritoshanam. Only then we will be perfecting our lives. So that is the main thing of the word. And in the purport itself, Prabhupada mentions here in the statement of Bhagavatam is that the highest aim of life for the highest perfection of the institution of Varnashrama Dharma is to cooperate jointly, for satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. That means all the four varnas should not be constantly quarreling among themselves. Rather, they should work cooperatively with one single goal to satisfy Krishna. Okay? And this is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay? But see what is the situation in Kali Yuga. This age is of quarrel and disagreement. Okay? So Prabhupada used to say in Kali Yuga everything is topsy-turvy. Right? I mean, there is no varnashram, nothing is being followed. Okay? And main goal of life is again to earn more and more money so that I can eat nicely, I can sleep nicely, I can mate nicely, I can defend nicely. Okay? So that is why it is said in the Shastras that there is no Brahmana, Kshatriya or Vaishya in the age of Kali, Kalo Shudra Sambhava. Everyone is a Shudra by birth. Neither we are following any purificatory processes which are associated with the birth of a child. Okay? Before the child is being conceived, actually we perform a purificatory process called as the Garbhadhan Sanskar. Okay? That is completely lost these days. And without that, it's very nearly impossible to get a proper soul, attracted to a mother's womb. If by any chance a good soul comes, then it's just a matter of chance. Otherwise, without performing Garbhadhan Sanskar, it's just not possible. Okay? Garbhadhan Sanskar actually ensures that, a mother gets a Vaikuntha child in her womb. Maybe that the child which is conceived after the Garbhadhan Sanskar might be having the last birth, the last human birth. After that, he may be going back home, back to Godhead. And when that happens, he, as mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, Lord Narsimhadev actually, he has promised Prahlad Maharaj that any person who becomes a pure devotee of me, 21 generations are just liberated, just like that. 21 generations. 11 generations before that and 10 generations after that, right? They are simply liberated. And it's not just, restricted to your parents or your relatives of this lifetime. It goes on to the parents and relatives of other lifetimes as well, right? If they are they are born, maybe they have taken birth, a human birth or an animal birth, or because of some past life karmas, they are going through a very, difficult process, then just by you performing nice devotional service, they will be relieved of those karmas as well. Okay, so this is the potency of the devotional service, serious devotional service. Okay, so that is the reason why we should try to follow the ultimate goal of life, try to perfect our life. Ultimate goal of life is Sansiddhir Haritoshnam. And again, in Kali Yuga, it is very simple. It can be done by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. So we'll take the last verse for today. Sorry, I'm running a little fast because of the time crunch, but yeah, that's the way it is. This one. This is the one. Okay. तस्मादेकेन मनसा भगवान सत्वतां पतिः श्रोतव्यः कीर्तितव्यश्च ध्येयः पूज्यश्च नित्यदा. Therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, remember and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. Okay? If the realization of absolute truth is the ultimate aim of life, it must be carried out by all means. In many of the above mentioned castes and orders of life, the four processes, namely glorifying, hearing, remembering and worshipping. Okay? Glorifying, hearing, remembering and worshipping are the general occupations. Okay? Without these principles of life, no one can exist. Activities of the living beings involve engagements in these four different principles of life. Especially in modern society, all activities are more or less dependent on hearing and glorifying. Okay? So we'll see how it is there. So, in this shloka tells us how to practice devotional service, and what the most important points here are. It should be one pointed, okay, without any deviation. Like we should be very, very focused on this. And tasmad ekena manasa, our mind should be completely focused on only one thing, okay, and should be undeviated, okay. And what are those things? Hearing, chanting, glorifying, and meditating and worshipping. And the varnashram system has all these four activities. See, by default, as human beings, we have this nature amongst us, okay, that we are actually glorifying and hearing continuously. The only thing is that we are doing these things for mundane people around us. Okay, some celebrities. What are the news channels doing today? They just take one person and they glorify them. Okay, to such an extent that they enjoy some celebrity status. They keep writing about them in the print media. Okay, so much so that our hairstyle, our dressing sense, each and everything is influenced by such people. Okay, so we are just becoming blind followers. So this particular quality of hearing and glorifying is already there within us. It's just that it is not properly directed. Okay, it is directed to some mundane people rather than being directed towards Krishna. Okay, and very nice pastime we will see in this aspect. I'll come to that. Okay. And so this varnashrama system has these four things, and we are doing that inherently, okay, but it is not properly directed, okay. And most of the cases, the glorification is about the mundane people. Now the question is that some people may argue that okay, theek hai Prabhuji, like I am not glorifying Krishna, that is one other thing, but I am not kind of chastising or I am not blaspheming him also, right? Even if I am glorifying some human being in his place, then what is wrong in it? Does it incur some sinful reactions? So what do you guys think? Will it be sinful to glorify a normal human being, or is it okay? Say something, Prabhu. Huh?
Based on the intent.
Intent of glorification, okay.
It's a waste of time.
Waste of time, okay.
He is glorifying for his personal gain,
Mm-hmm.
for material gain,
Mm-hmm.
then he is making his own path.
Mm-hmm.
He is glorifying for plain heart.
Mm-hmm.
He is not envious.
Yeah, he is not envious, but then.
If he is glorifying in connection with God,
Hmm.
then
Yes. So the correct answer is glorifying any other mundane person also incurs sinful reaction. Okay, whether it is done with a pure heart or whether it is done with a malicious intent, it will incur sinful reactions. Okay, one of the there are certain do's and don'ts. When we perform puja at altar. Okay, and one of such don'ts is that we are not supposed to glorify or we are not supposed to worship anyone else, apart from Krishna, especially when there is an altar at home or especially we are in the center. Okay, so glorifying is actually, it will incur sinful reactions. And how? This is the pastime of Narad Muni, which Narad Muni himself is telling to Maharaj Yudhishthir in this 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay? And what happened was that Narad Muni is saying that in one of his previous births, he was a very beautiful and a good looking Gandharva. Okay? Now these Gandharvas have a very good body. They are inhabitants of higher planetary systems, and they are very good singers also. Okay, so needless, and he always used to wear very nice garlands, flower garlands, and his whole body was always smeared with sandalwood pulp. Okay, so needless to say, he was very good looking, very handsome, and was always very popular among the Apsaras as well. Okay, now how many of you have been very popular in the college days? Please, no need to be shy, just tell. Okay, no one. I'm really surprised. You must have been, right? You must have, sought a lot of attention from the opposite gender at that time, right? Hormones are rushing, age is young, right? Everything is that. How does that feel? Man mein laddu phootte hain us time pe, nahi? When you are getting attention. So Narad Muni was also having the same kind of thing. He used to get a lot of attention from them. And one day there was a nice kirtan which was arranged. So in higher planetary systems also kirtan is there as we do. Although R is very out of sur, but they do it very nicely, Gandharvas. Okay. So Narad Muni was also actually invited for that kirtan, and he went there and he started singing. And again, like he was a very good singer, so everyone was mesmerized. And then suddenly what happened that I don't know like what happened. Narad Muni, he says that just while singing I just lost it completely, and instead of glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he started glorifying some Apsaras and the demigods who were sitting there. Okay, and listening to that, all the big demigods like Brahma, Lord Shiva, and some others were there also, right? They became very angry, and they said that since you have violated this norm of glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we curse you that you take birth in the Shudra family, right? And because of that curse, Narad Muni was born as a Shudra, right, in a house of a housemaid. Basically, he was a son of a housemaid. That's a different story. That he got a chance to serve pure Vaishnavas in that form. And then finally he got the realization, and then he became the Narad Muni that we know of right now. Okay, but this is what false glorification can do to us. Okay, in ignorance we are doing that. All the Bollywood songs that we are listening to, right? They are simply glorification of what? Beauty. Pyar, mohabbat, ishq, yahi sab hota hai usme. Nothing else, right? So it's just false glorification. Okay, don't fall for that trap. Time has come to just understand what is there in our Shastras and just follow that, because by doing that, Sansiddhim Haritoshanam, we will be pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and also we will be saving ourselves. Okay, it's sin basically to glorify anyone else. So this is how we have to practice the devotional service. Okay, it should be one pointed, and very nice 2 verses I would like to quote from Nectar of Instructions. Okay, some people actually ask, Prabhuji, my chanting is not going on very nicely, what should I do? Okay, I am not able to perform my devotional service, what should I do? Okay, so in that scenarios, just I would refer 2 shlokas of Nectar of Instructions written by Sri Rupa Goswami. It tells you what are the 6 factors which will enhance your devotional service, and what are the 6 factors which will deteriorate your devotional service. Okay, so the 6 factors which enhance the devotional service. Okay, उत्साहान निश्चयात् धैर्यात् तत्तत् कर्म प्रवर्तनात् संगत्यागात् ततो वृत्ते षड्भिर्भक्ति प्रसिद्ध्यति. There are 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. One is being enthusiastic. Okay, we should be very enthusiastic. Okay, कभी भी we should not be losing any hope कि अगर chanting सही से नहीं हो रहा है, if we are not able to focus, then छोड़ो कौन करता है यार, हटाओ. No, not like that. We should be always enthusiastic, endeavoring with confidence. Okay, दृढ़ निश्चय होना चाहिए हमारे अंदर. Okay, endeavoring with confidence, then being patient. It takes time. Okay, it's not that today I started chanting, tomorrow I'll be seeing Paramatma in the heart. No, it's not going to happen like that. Okay, takes time. You have to be very, very patient. Okay, acting according to the regulative principles. Okay, such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Okay, abandoning the association of non-devotees, very important. In the next verse also this aspect will come. Okay, the more you associate with material minded people, the more you will be getting carried away by Maya once again. It will take you away from the devotional service. Okay, and then Abandoning the association of non-devotees, following on the footsteps of previous acharyas. Simply just follow the footsteps of previous acharyas. Rather, even simpler, read the books of Srila Prabhupada. By doing that, automatically you will be following on the footsteps of previous acharyas. These 6 things you do, you will be trust me, your bhakti will just take off, like that. We should be very, serious about that. And then there are 6 things which will spoil your devotional service. What are those 6 things? Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha jansangascha laulyam cha shadbhir bhakti vinashyati. One's devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities. Eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than necessary. Okay, atyahar means not just means eating too much, it also means collecting more funds than necessary. Okay, over endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. Okay, so for example, if I am a software engineer and I think that I have to buy a Ferrari, and for that I am just toiling day in and day out like a donkey. So that is again, it's going to spoil my devotional service. Okay, that's endeavoring too much. Okay. Third, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters. That is gossiping. Okay, when 4 or 5 people we get together, what happens? We simply gossip. Okay, so we have to give that up. Okay, practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them and not for the sake of spiritual advancement or rejecting the rules altogether. Okay, this is 5th, association with worldly minded people. Again, just as in the previous verse we saw that leaving the association of material minded people will make us progress on the path of bhakti. Similarly, if we associate with material minded people, our bhakti will deteriorate. Okay, so we have to give up. Now, giving up the association of material minded people doesn't mean that you simply stop talking to all of them. Okay, कि बस घर में बंद हो गए and I'm not interacting to anyone. No, that is not the right thing. Keep the interactions down to a minimum, only to the extent which is absolutely necessary. Okay, don't try to indulge in unnecessary gossip, with those people. Just go there, talk whatever is necessary, come back home. That is the way. In that way, they will also not feel bad and your bhakti will also be preserved. Okay. And finally, being greedy for mundane achievements. Okay, which is the case in Kali Yuga. Like everyone is running after name, fame, and money. Okay, so with such a consciousness, our devotional service cannot progress. Okay, so very nice. So in short, another very nice verse from Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, which tells us what should be our mood when we are performing the devotional service. It is Anyabhilashita Shunyam Gyan Karmardha Navritam Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam Bhakti Ruttama. That means we have to be at the Anyabhilashita platform. Okay, when the first class devotional service develops, one must be devoid of all the material desires, knowledge obtained from monoistic philosophy and fructive action. The devotee must constantly serve Krishna favorably as Krishna desires. Okay, so ultimately, see the ultimate goal, we have seen at least 2 or 3 places where the ultimate goal is what? Just to do what Krishna desires. Sansiddhim Haritoshanam. Okay. So with that, I would like to conclude with one small story. If you guys still have the energy, I'll just take 5 more minutes, okay? And then we can conclude the session. So a man at the airport. Now, this is not some story which I have come across in any books. I was just, meditating and it came in my mind. So I'm just putting it in front of you. So before we start, I'll just get some water. It so happened that there was a man, and just like most of us here in Bangalore, he was working here and very far away from his hometown. Okay. One day he thought of going back home to visit his parents, back home to his hometown. And he went to the airport, he was sitting there. Unfortunately, an announcement was made that his flight has been delayed by another 1.5 hours. So initially, obviously, he was frustrated. So suddenly he saw that there were a few newspapers and magazines that were lying around for the passengers who were there sitting at the airport. So he just picked up one newspaper or maybe one magazine and started going through it. While he was going through it, he became very engrossed in reading. So much so that he just picked up another magazine and another and another. And by doing that, like how 1.5 hours passed, he didn't come to know. He missed the flight altogether, but he was very much attached to that magazine. And he decided that, okay, I also want to now print the magazine. I have read it more now, enough now, I just want to print it. He came out of the airport, he just took a small shop near the airport, started, selling the magazines there, or business chal pada uska, right? From one airport to another, and he just kept on expanding that business, all over India, like, he had one outlet of his particular, magazine which was being published there, right? And he became a very rich person, very famous person, right? And he got married, he had kids, his kids grew up, business started flourishing even more, with the kids around, and then, he married off his kids one day, started growing old, but then his business was doing really well. And one day, suddenly, all of a sudden, death came, right? He was on his deathbed. And entire life was just flashbacking, it just was a kind of ran in front of him like a flashback. Okay, that's what he has done. Even in that situation, he was just thinking about, one particular center did not make much profit. If they could have done this thing like that, then profit would have been better. And thinking like that in a miserable condition, he just quit his life. Okay. Now, I just want all of you to think, just replace certain things in this particular story and just see how it relates to all of us. Okay. He wanted to go to his hometown to meet his parents. Replace that parents with Radha and Krishna. Okay. He was sitting at the airport. Replace that airport with this Bhakti center, Kannamangala. Okay. Or maybe some other ISKCON center. Right. And he was very attracted to magazine and all those things. Just replace it with all the mundane activities that we are doing we are doing here, right? So, do you find any resemblance in the life of that person and our person? So, our ultimate goal is to reach Srimati Radharani and Krishna, who are eagerly waiting for us in the Golok Vrindavan. Okay? By having this human life, we already have that flight ticket, okay, with us. All it needs is just to go to the airport, that means come to the center like this, be in association of devotees and catch the flight back home, back to Krishna. But unfortunately, we are so much distracted by the magazines and newspapers all around that we simply forget to come to the airport altogether. Okay? So, with that mood, I would like all of you to meditate over this. Okay? If you remain in the association of devotees, it's just a matter of time that, you will catch the flight and go back home. But if you simply avoid the association of devotees, then I don't know for how many lifetimes, we will have to spend the life here. Okay? So with that, I would like to conclude the session. I would like to pause here. If there are any questions, I would like to take now, or you can also share your realizations. Anyone? No questions means either you understood everything or you were sleeping. So you better ask questions. Or at least share your realizations. What did you understand from this whole? Did you even understand, or what, like, did I went too fast or anything?
No, Prabhuji, it was, you covered very well with the real examples. And I had a question in my mind.
Yeah,
You
please.
answered it already, that how to, being devotee, that does not mean that everybody is devotee around me. Right? So people will come and I have to go
Correct.
office and meet several other people.
Right.
So
Okay, yeah, so I think I answered in that, yeah. Yeah, so you don't need to, give up on your prescribed duties. Like as a grihastha, you have a prescribed duty. Going to the office is one of them, right? That doesn't mean that you have to stop all the interactions at office, you start working from home, close yourself in a room. No, it's not going to work that way. The thing is that by doing all those activities, still if you are able to remember Krishna, because that work is also given to you by none other than Krishna himself, right? So keeping that in mind, if you just, go on and at the end of the day, just, offer everything to Krishna. Whatever I have done in office today, it's just as an offering to you, Krishna. Just say these words and yeah, you're done, right? There will be no karma baggage after that. Anyone else? Yes, Prabhu, please go.
Thank you for the enlightening lecture. Today's lecture just reminds me a very simple text from the Vedanta Sutras. It says, Atato Brahma Vidyas.
Dhatu Brahma, yes.
Which is very much in line with...
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, one and the same thing. Yeah.
It just says that since we have been blessed with a human body, we should actually concentrate on the real problems of life.
Yes.
rather than concentrating
Yeah,
on all
the
the
serious inquisitiveness which we talked about. Yes,
So we should be concentrated on realizing the Brahman.
correct.
This is the greatest.
Very nice, Prabhu. Very nice.
That's what my realization was.
Very nice, Prabhu. Hare Hare. Anyone else? Okay, so if not, then we can conclude the session for today. Thank you all so much for coming in.
First time one
Okay.
per family we can give.
Okay.
There's name and mobile number, they have to give it to reception.
Okay, sure. You would like to?
Just announce.
Sure, sure.
Hare Krishna everybody, thank you so much for joining us in this wonderful Sunday feast session. I would like to thank Abhishek Prabhu most importantly because he's been the pillar of prachar in our ISKCON Kannamangala. And also all of his lectures are very full of things which you can, precious gems which you can collect and you can keep it with you and you can apply it in your lives. So with this, I would just like to ask everybody to chant one round of Hare Krishna mantra for Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
And also one announcement regarding our Sunday feast Anudan. Alan Narayan Prabhu from Kaduguri has donated